Just when America has reached a breaking point with division, visionary influencer Danni Benson's I'm Proud of You Sis bro movement taps into the pulse and heartbeat of a culture radically torn. But this loving mom's voice of reason and calm has received national recognition.
How do you balance having your children and always traveling with the Yankee organization?
When I became a dad, I said that I would always love like a mother.
I feel like I have to try certain things or act a different way because I know some people or some kids.
So join Danni Benson as she celebrates her special guests on her show and highlights their gifts and contributions to our world.
Hi, everyone. This is Danni Benson, host of I'm Proud of You Sis. Please like, share, follow, and comment. I am so happy you are joining me today. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day out there. I just want to say happy Black History Month. It is February, and also it's Valentine's Day. And I have a power couple here, Gayna and Jean Alert. They've been married for over 10 years. They're a power couple. So I know the show is called I'm Proud of You Sis. But today, the show is going to be called I'm Proud of Us, because being married in this day and age is so difficult. You know, people are getting divorced more than ever. So I wanted them to come in for this Valentine's Day edition to talk about what works for them, what doesn't work for them, they have happy birthday to Anu, by the way. His birthday was this past weekend. They have one son, and I just wanted to know how they do it. They have a business, they work together. I'm just trying to figure out what is the secret of their marriage success. So I want to welcome Miss Gayna and Mr. Jean Alert to the show. Hi guys, how are you? Yay, we finally did it!
You did it!
I finally got the power couple on. I'm proud of us. I'm so proud of you guys because you're an example of what it takes to make a relationship work. I know you've had some great times. You've had some, not so great times. Some family things have occurred just like in life, but you managed to stick together. And that's what it's all about when you take your vows. It's just for better or worse, to death do us part. And you guys have a business together. So please tell me, what was the start of your journey? How did you know, Jean, she was the right one?
From day one, our conversation I met her in the at a party at her birthday event, and in the city, and the conversation, it was just about family, it was about growth, it was about real estate. I love real estate, so and our conversation together just meshed, and it was just like I couldn't stop talking to her, So I'll be at, sometimes I'll be at the office and just couldn't get off the phone with her, and just stayed on the phone constantly. And then a month into it, I was just like, yo, this is it. I have to commit.
Wow. So guys basically know right away.
Yeah, I believe so. I think men select the wife. I think when a woman forces a man to get married, it doesn't work. But I think when a man chooses his wife, I think those are the best outcomes. I don't believe that. I think that even though my mom told me this, right? My mom said to me, a man is gonna love a woman more. But
yes,
when a woman loves a man more, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work.
Yeah.
My mom said the same thing to me too. And I'm trying to tell my daughters this. A man has to love you more than you love him, because he has so many temptations out there. Not that women don't, but he is going to make the ultimate decision if he wants to take the risk of losing you or not. And men that love their wives more don't want to take that risk.
Yeah.
Don't want to take that risk. Okay, so shout out to your mom. I just saw her a couple weeks ago. Right? I was shopping and she was like, Danni. I was like, hey, how are you? So shout out to your mom. Your mom is amazing. So I can tell where you get it from also, because I believe that a mom is the one that teaches her son how to treat a woman. I get it, the fathers do, but the fathers teach them the other things, like, make sure you don't stay a virgin long, all the manly stuff. But I think when you have a mom who's as caring as you and who shows you how you're supposed to treat a woman, I think it factors in. Don't you believe that, Gayna?
Yeah, before I got married, the dating scene wasn't easy. So, you meet, different people, and you understand how the mind works of, a lot of men. And some of them, either their mom wasn't there, or some of them loved their mom dearly, but also could have been another missing piece. Maybe they didn't have a village, or they didn't have like the father figure in their home. Like certain things, that a man needs to become a man. And I think it's a little bit of both, and same thing with the woman. The woman needs to become a woman. It's a little bit of both. However, it's more domineering with having a mother there, versus I feel like a man is more domineering when there is a father in the home, or at least the father is involved in the growing man's life, because there's just certain lessons and certain things that a man needs to see and relate to, whereas a woman just won't be able to fill that role, even though they want to. So
I believe that a woman can only do a woman's role. Like, I'm not doing the gender thing right now, but I feel that when your kids see both parents, however it is, co-parenting or in a relationship, they get to get both sides. They get to see both sides. So it's not like one-sided where they have a missing part of how the other side interacts, because they don't see the interaction.
Right.
I see.
Right. Yeah. And so they look for this, and the only thing they can do is pick up things from their environment. And so I think that's what a lot of times, I was dealing with, because that's just the way this world is. There's not a lot of people who come from that two-parent home. I mean, I came from a village. My parents co-parented. Jean's parents, his parents were together. They were married, for many, many years.
Still married.
40 something years.
Married.
Yeah.
So
43 years this year.
Yeah, so
wow.
Right. So my point is that it can work as long as, that person gets that well-rounded piece installed into them, from either a village, co-parenting, but it's something that it just can't be dismissed. And that's how you develop someone who can be a great mate to a partner. And so, yeah, I learned that a lot. And, I ended up, marrying Jean, because he had a lot of the things that I noticed right away were missing.
Like for instance, what were the things?
Being consistent, when you call, they answer, or either, let you know what's going on in their life, information, following up, less assuming, oh, I know you have a man, or I know you're out doing this, or I know there's like, you have like a lot of guys, like, that want you, like less assuming, and just really trying to, get to know me, find out what I like, what I wanted to do, and creating that space for us. And, like things that like, just like a real responsible decisions about, getting to know someone and wanting to know someone. So, yeah.
So you're fortunate that your parents were able to co-parent. When they co-parent, do you think they put you first? Because I speak to a lot of couples, and it's hard for them to co-parent, because I tell people that as adults, you have to put your emotions aside and put your kids first. And I know it's hard to do, but I realize that you have to take accountability for the partner you picked. And it's not really your children's fault that you picked this, it's not really your children's fault. So you have to find a middle ground of how can you coexist, so your kids can see a healthy relationship between the mom and the dad. I mean, how were your parents able to do that?
I think with me and my development, I didn't always see my dad. However, I knew that he would call me, or we would speak, often on the phone, and he knew I could tell him what's going on. And I'm sure it's much easier nowadays with FaceTime and all of these things. So he knew, and I knew that whenever I tried to reach my dad, he was going to be there for me. Like if I had a problem and I called him, I need to talk to you about this, I need your advice, he was there. Then on certain occasions, he would say, okay, we're going out to daddy and daughter's dinner. And we would go to this place called Tad Steaks, nothing special. Back in the days, we would go to Manhattan.
But it meant a lot to you.
And it meant a lot. I remember it. So it was just those occasional moments where he checked in with me and said, okay, we're going to go, just you and me. We're going to go to Tad Steaks. We're going to have a little steak pick. Then he would drop me back home, and that was it. And then just knowing that, he would check in on me or see what's going on, or, I think it's just that communication has to be ongoing throughout the course of the child's life, knowing that they have, and knowing I'm here for you if you ever need me. Just hearing that, if there's anything you want to talk about, I'm here. Just knowing that piece, I think that was, instrumental in my development, and knowing that I had that father figure that was, at a touch of a button. If I needed him, he would be there, even though he wasn't in the home. So, yeah.
But you know what? You said a very important thing, because you said when you first met Jean, he would follow up, he would be consistent, he would keep his word. And you got that from your dad.
Correct.
Think about that for a second. You got that from your dad. So you knew the qualities to look for because you saw it present in your dad.
Right.
So that is the significance of, I'm telling everyone out there, if you are not together, if you could co-parent, put the child, first, because it will help the development. It will help the healthy development of the child, and try to put your feelings aside. So, okay. So you're married for 10 plus years. What is the secret? Because in this day and age, and I know you talked about, Jean, like dating was whatever last, but dating is different now. See, when you guys were married, I don't think there was Instagram.
No.
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 No, there wasn't Instagram. There wasn't Tinder.
No.
Definitely not. There wasn't, like, I think Facebook was just maybe introduced, but Facebook was just really your friends. You wasn't like open to the world. Like
Facebook was it was around because we had it in at school, but it wasn't like a dating. Black Planet was around. MySpace was around. Twitter was around.
This was 2005. So whatever was around in 2005.
2005. We've been together for 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys have been together for 18 years. So Jean, you're a guy. How do you make it last for 18 years without feeling like, oh, I just want to give up on this and try something new? Because I feel like in this social media age, people feel like, well, if this doesn't work out, I have the whole world to follow up on, so I'm fine. Yeah. So how do you keep yourself from making sure your family comes first, and that is a focus, and not have people like throw their marriages away over stuff like, oh, okay, I'm done with it. It's always like, I'm done with it, but you took vows for better, for worse. So what do you do to?
There's a few things. Well, I think I think our secret is we created a mantra in the beginning, right? WTB, we the best, right? And we've been saying this from day one, and
we the best.
Yeah.
Before DJ Khaled said it, we the best.
Before DJ Khaled, and it was so funny because like it's on her license plate, like yeah, and so that I think when you think about mantras and you think about affirmations, and you create your own, and so ours is we the best, and then now we have our son, and it's winners win, so so now when he goes into an event, he already has that winner's mentality, and I mean, win or lose, we're proud of him, but he's been winning, so
because it's the affirmation that you put
in and in his room, since he was born, it says greatness is in your future. right? So, and as soon as he started talking, we had him reading that, and saying, "Hey, what does that say?" And we're like, "Greatness is in your future." So, affirmations is big in our family, right? And so we believe, like, if it starts here first. That's number one. So if it's here, then it's here. Then then this stays on your finger, right? So, but I think sometimes you people have different visions and different goals, and so those goals separate when you don't have the same. It's not in alignment. So a lot of couples, they grow because of course you're gonna grow. My wife is into certain things that she wasn't into 18 years ago, and I'm into certain things that I wasn't into 18 years ago. And
So then, how do you keep that alignment on the same page?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. Once you know what the end goal is, right? We the best, right? Winners win. It doesn't matter what we're doing separately, as long as we understand as a family, we have to get to the finish line. So yeah, I'm in construction. Yeah, you do biotherapy and alternate healing. That's different. This is totally different how we met. Where we met, I was a banker, real estate, and she works for the city. She did her thing, and I did mine. But it doesn't matter. We end up opening up a frozen yogurt business together. We wrote a book. Now we have this construction business. We own property management. We do everything together. So I believe that one of the key things is, one, be in alignment. Two, create a mantra, right? And understand that you have to give. Also, I think too, is we give each other space, right? So it's not, a lot of times I believe men are creatures of like
cave.
Yes, right? And women are nurturers. So of course it's like, I want to take care of, like, I want to nurture. But now it's time. Sometimes you have to like
separate.
But not like who said it? I think Kiki Palmer or one of those people said have separate bedrooms.
No.
We don't do that. But
that's really separating.
That's really separation.
Like there's no connection being formed at night time.
That's different. But I'm talking about like just an hour, 2 hours, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, there's some days where we have no separation, but some days you just need it. Like the world beats you up and you just need time, just to get yourself back together. And I think a lot of couples don't do that, and I think that they just don't, since they were kids, they never learned how to really communicate their feelings. When a baby cries, right? Why are they crying? They're crying because they don't know how to tell you, express themselves, what's wrong with them. When they become, and if they grow up, they toddlers. What do toddlers do when they can't communicate?
They point.
They point and they act up. They start screaming.
They get frustrated. Yeah.
Frustrated. Then those toddlers turn into teenagers, and then now they're like out of control, and then they become adults, and then they get married, and they still don't know how to communicate since they were kids. That's why one of the things I'm proud of us too is that we taught Anu how to communicate early. So anytime we saw him getting to the point of use your words. Use your words. It'll take him a little time. We like, take your time, use your words, tell us what's wrong, and
then you have a son, so you have to teach him how to communicate his feelings. Because one of the issues that women mostly complain about is men don't communicate their feelings. So women get frustrated because they can't and then men say it about women too, like, we can't read your mind. You know what I mean? So it's communication is definitely the key. So why don't you think in schools they teach that early on?
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't have the answer to that. But I'll tell you one thing. Communication, my father suffered from a stroke when I was 20, about 22, 21,
Mm-hmm.
right? His first one.
Mm-hmm.
And, growing up in the home, I noticed that my mom, when my father used to work from 4 to like 6, he would come home at 7 in the morning. He would leave the house at 4 in the morning every day. Come home, he had the same routine, and I watched it, right? My mom, on the other hand, she worked 2 jobs. She came home. Between the 2 jobs, she would come home, cook dinner, set my father's plate, go back to work, come back home. My father would just not have to do anything because everything was set. But then when she was home, sometimes she would just, sometimes
be annoying.
Be annoying to him, right? If you want to use that word. But it was just telling her feelings about what he did wrong or whatever. But my dad never complained. And I feel like it bottled up in him. And then he just one day
so it stressed him out because he never let it out. So then
he never let it out.
Happened.
So I remember telling my wife early on, I said, look, one thing I'm not gonna die of is a stroke.
Woo!
Like I will never die of a stroke. And I tell my married men, guys who are getting engaged, guys who are newly married, I always tell them, like, look, don't hold things in. You have to tell the truth. It's your partner. If you guys are doing this together, if if whatever your mantra is, if we're the best, we have to be able to tell each other the truth. Like if I'm like, this is not working right now, I can't do this, I'll walk away, or she'll walk away. I can't do this right now. Or I just won't say anything and she'll get it. And she'll do the same and I'll get it. And I'll be like, okay.
So she knows your nonverbal cues, basically.
Yeah. Because if I'm not talking, something's wrong. It's
got it. Yeah, because they say 90% of it is nonverbal. Like 10% is like talking, 90% is nonverbal, and they don't really teach people how to look at the nonverbal. To sometimes you have to like, okay, he's not talking. You got to be smart enough to know, okay, let me leave him alone, as opposed to like over prying even more, and it becomes annoying. It's just like, I will get back to you when I want to, but we're not taught that in our society.
No.
Right. Yeah, I think that in relationships, it's really like you have to not look at what everybody else expects from you. You have to kind of focus on what you guys expect from each other. I mean, because sometimes when you put your relationship in a box, well, he should be doing this or he should be doing that, you have to look at what works for you, because things that work for Jean may not work for me, or things that work for me may not work for Jean, but there has to be some kind of middle ground. And like, you have to like kind of reevaluate sometimes certain situations and say, okay, well, this is what I expect, and sit down to the table and come like out with a healthy compromise of how this is going to work out. Maybe you might have to change certain things, and you have to be open to that in a relationship. And it can't be just one way or the highway.
Or the highway.
Yeah.
And like you can't be stubborn, and like you got to be flexible.
You have to be flexible.
Yeah, you got to be flexible. You got to move. Like you got to like.
Yeah, you got to move.
Like this. Rigid.
No, it
causes friction.
It causes too much friction, and you notice. Like one of our good friends, they recently got married. A year now. It's been a year. And at their wedding, I was fortunate to be the best man, and my speech was, listen, on Instagram you see, it's like the big gender reveal, it's the big the engagement. The big engagement video, the journey for the wedding, the picking out the dress, the picking out the ring, the woman walking down, they zooming into the guy's crying, and is holding him, like all that is theater, okay? And then because at the end of the day, and then the big $200,000 weddings, and then guess what? Once that's over, you know what's left?
Just you and that person. Yep.
That's it. This
And
is
so
it.
I think that's
You know?
why you have to understand, like, you guys are on the same team. You're not in competition with each other. You're on the same team, and it's you against everybody else. You two against everybody else. And not that you need to be against, but
Not against, but
it's just like if you guys don't have it together, it's hard to go out in the world and not expect like catastrophe to happen. Like you have to have your
strong
home
foundation
strong, and you have to be able to, check in and know when things are not right, and then come back and say, okay, well, where are we right now? Because I like this team. This is the team I chose. This is the team I'm on. This is the team I want to work with, and just realize that, you guys, it's two is, is much easier in life to deal with certain things, when sickness happens or when death happens or when all of these things happen, which is a part of life around or in your circle. This is something that you have to deal with. And if you guys can't make sure you have a strong union, at home, it's going to be much harder for you to do it by yourself, so that's why, people, and they say family is important or family comes first, because you do need your village to help you get through things. You need your husband, you need your partner, you need your friend, you need someone to help you get through whatever life has to throw at you. So, in dealing with, dating someone or finding that right person or finding success in a person, I was always told that, look for your parent in a relationship. So
that's a good thing and that's a bad thing.
Yeah,
it is.
Look
But
for your parent.
When I say
that's why you got the generational trauma like still repeating itself, because
but
some parents are not as positive as others.
But not look for not look for the problems, that
the negative traits
that have been passed down generations.
I think there's a thing. There's good humans and there's just like I don't want to judge, right? But sometimes I could look at a kid and I'm like, who are your parents?
Right. So let me clarify that.
Yeah, clarify.
When I say look for your parents, I mean that I should look for someone that I would love for them to be my father. So like if Jean was my father instead of my husband, would I be happy? Because he's going to be the father of my children one day.
I know.
So I want to date a man. I can say, if he was my father, I think I would love him. He would be so cool because look, he's going to be but if I can't ever see him as someone to raise me, then why would I want to get involved with him and have a family with him?
Yeah.
So when I say,
because you know what it is, women especially think that once they pass that mommy mental occasion, that the guy's going to change. And I have this thing called the common denominator. Mm-hmm. I tell women all the time that his characteristics will still remain the same. Mm-hmm. It doesn't change because you walk down the aisle or you signed a piece of paper. His character is his character. So if you're marrying this person knowing that he's not the greatest person in the world, the paper doesn't change that.
Right.
No.
The character doesn't change. And I think as a lot of women, we make those type of mistakes thinking that once he's my husband or once that's my wife, then it's automatically we're one and we're gonna help each other out to win. No, it's something that you have to really talk about.
Right.
It's not an automatic thing that you're gonna win because you're married.
No. You really have to check in on what your morals and your values are first. Yeah. Then when you check in what your morals and your value, what do I value most? Then those are the things you should aim for, and it's not going to be, oh, well, I value money or, because that never makes anybody happy.
Jean, would you be happy if Gayna made more money than you?
I wouldn't care.
Got it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't mess you up. It wouldn't. Nah. But would you expect Gayna to still be? Are you guys both leaders in the household, or it's roles? Like it's like submit. I hear submit. Or I'm the head of the household.
No. Let me explain. I think, and while I saw where this is going, so the interesting part about the dynamic, right, is like I love to cook, right? That gives me peace, right? That gives me, it's totally different from what it's totally different from the work that I do, right? Outside. So now when I come home, even if they're home all day or they're out and running around and doing whatever they do, I want to cook, right? So it's funny because some guys like, what? What do you
Mhm.
mean? Like, your wife is supposed to cook. I'm like, no, I like to cook. I want to do it. Like, I want to do that for them, right? That's my love language, right? Because I always love doing things, surprises. My wife doesn't really like surprises all the time, but she, but the thing is, it's like, when it happens, she's like, oh, I love it. Like, thank you. But the lead up, she's a Capricorn. So you already know, like, anything like out the ordinary, like, what are you doing?
What
Why
you
are you
doing? Yeah. She's
I'm
not
like,
comfortable.
I'm planning something for you. Relax.
I know.
But I don't think there's I think that there's roles, just like a business, right? You have a CEO, you have a CFO, you have a COO, you have an operator, everyone has and you have an understanding. And it's just like, all right, I remember when my wife got pregnant, right? We had Brooklyn Swirl, and she's handled the paperwork, she's handled all the back end stuff forever, right? She gets pregnant in 2015. And I handled the front face. I'm the front face. I'm the guy who's on TV. I'm the guy who's talking to the people and dealing with the people, the public, right? And I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. I'll handle that stuff too. Sure enough, I'm not doing it right because I don't really like doing that. That's not my strong suit. And it's giving me anxiety. And we fall into a little issue, right? So she had to be the one to take care of it and bring us back to where we needed to go. So from that point on, I was like, you know what? I'm not handling anything back end. I'll stay in my lane. You stay in your lane. And it's been smooth, right? I think what happens in a lot of relationships, because I got asked this question the other day, not on a podcast, just like in general, like from a couple. And they were like, how is it working with your wife? I want to kill her all the time. And I'm like, dang. Here's what the problem is. You both want to do the same thing, right? If we're designing a house, right? If I'm saying I'm the designer, I mean, yeah, you can give an input, but if I'm telling you this is the light fixture I'm going to go with, you can't tell me, oh, I don't think you should do that, right? Like, but because if I have a vision for the space, right, for the client, and this is my job, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and not saying that it doesn't, you're not gonna get heard. It's just that, I'm just giving
just
that
basically respect the fact that that's my choice.
Yeah, like for example,
and don't keep fighting me about it.
Yes,
that's causing friction between us where we get angry at each other and then we get to a point where we're gonna kill each other.
Yeah,
pick and choose your battles.
Yes,
like what you have to do. It's like certain things is just not worth having a whole dialogue about.
And you know what? Some people don't understand that. It's like every little thing. It's like it's like it gets to be a lot.
Yeah.
And like they're forgetting the mantra. You know the mantra you're talking about? Like, we the best, we winners. Like, at the end of the day, our goal is to be at the winning line together.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example, Danny. Little simple thing, right? So you have 2 water bottles here, right? So one is a small one, of course, and one is a larger one. Some couples would debate over this. We should have 2 small water bottles. No, but I want a big one. I want a small one. I want a big one. So in our case, it's like, babe, the water bottle's over there. Pick one, right? So now she chose a small water bottle, the mini one, and I chose the larger one, right? And that is not a battle. We're not, you're thirsty, you want some water, the water's over there. Which one would you like, right? And so versus me telling her, well, I'm getting a big water bottle, you should drink a big water bottle because it's gonna look good on camera, right? And well, she's like, I don't want to drink it, so it's like unnecessary. And then
unnecessary friction, unnecessary bickering.
Yeah, we came up. There's a during COVID, right? A lot of couples were calling us, asking us, like, "Are you guys choking each other? Like, are you guys like, what's going on over there?" And I think I got a call from you too, right? And I'm like, and I'm saying, and I said, there's a new mantra. It's called peace and growth,
Mm.
right? We want to grow together, right? We want to grow individually, right? We want to be great, but at the same time, we have to have peace. You can't grow and
You can't grow within chaos.
No, you can't.
Because it becomes a cancer, like a cancer
Yes.
growth. Like I
Yes.
feel like you get cancer because there's so much stress in your body. So it's your body's still growing, but it's not a good growth.
No.
You know what? Yeah, you know what? Yes.
It's been working. It's been working. Like, we don't really argue that much. We find balance in the peace, and it's growing. We're growing. And we just added a calendar.
Oh yeah.
A new calendar in the house so that all three of us can communicate.
Be on the same page.
Be on the same page.
Like basically write down things on the calendar and everyone knows to look at the calendar.
Yeah, exactly. So because there's so many news and so many things now. And besides my work schedule and her work schedule, now Anu has a work schedule.
No.
So
people don't understand, like, being a parent, like it puts stress in a marriage too.
Yes.
Because people need to understand that you have a child and that child deserves as much as investment in time and quality time and everybody else, or you're not going to have a functional child in this society.
That's a fact.
So a lot of marriages break up because sometimes I feel that men, I don't know, tell me, Jean, like, men still want to be first. Men feel like, I feel like some men feel like, I know we have children, but I should always be first and the kids come second. Like, where does that fall into your scope of thinking?
Well, fellas, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm gonna be real with you, Danny. Like, there's a lot of times I feel like that, right? And I'm not gonna
be honest, because I don't want people to think you're a perfect couple.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie. Like, there's a lot. My wife, I see how my wife looks at my son, and how when she was talking about Michael Jackson, his upcoming play, she's like, "Oh my God, he's playing Michael." I'm like, wow, why don't you talk about me like that? Like, and so, but that's her son. Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like, sometimes I'm like, yo, so
what about me? What about me?
Normal. It's normal. They're moms, right? It's
I'm a mom.
And guess what?
Thing. But what happens is I hear, like, people tell me that when men feel the emotional deposit is not putting in, that's when it sometimes opens to, like, the emotional cheating. You know what I mean? Because they feel like they're not getting the deposit in. So how do you keep the deposit going? So, some guy don't whisper sweet thing in the ear, be like, well, my wife is not doing this. This sounds good. My wife is, oh, my husband's not doing this. This sounds good. Because that's how people get caught up sometimes.
Yeah.
It's the emotional talking on the phone first, and it's not a big deal. And then all of a sudden, if you're still not getting that emotional connection at home, then it starts getting like, So explain to me, do you think men and women could be friends first?
They can. Yeah, they can. But I think, to answer your question, about how do you do that?
Yeah.
You have to take ego out. Like, I have to take the ego out, because the ego is telling me I should be first. The ego is telling me, yo, I've put in 18 years with this woman. Like, why is she, you know what I'm saying? Like, why is she so goo goo gaga over this? Like,
but what about when men cite the Bible? About being submissive? Man comes first. Because some men, you know what's weird about men? They'll cite the Bible, but they don't even believe in God. I'm like, why are you citing the Bible if you don't even do what the Bible is telling you? You can't just cherry pick one thing and say be submissive to your husband.
No. So I'll be honest. Like, I'm a very religious guy, but I'm spiritual, and I go to church. CCC. Shout out to Pastor Bernard. But at the same time, like, I'll watch him. I'll watch my father. I'll watch a couple different men in my life, elders, how they are with their wives and their children, and that's
you try to emulate.
I try to think about what would my dad do, and my father, and then I think about my mom with me, right? And when we were kids. And I said, my dad must have been feeling the same way, right? And so what did he do? Okay, cool. If she's doing the activity with Manu, I'm gonna go watch a movie, right? Like,
yeah, but it takes a special man. Like,
no, you just have to listen. You just have to take.
I mean, Gayna, what do you feel about it? Doesn't it take a special man to just do that and not feel like his needs are not being met?
She's asking you.
Oh, is this me?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
This is me. Well, I think it goes back to the question of the man loving you more. I think, you know, you have to like look at, you know, how much is this person going to be vested in you and, you know, stay in the course. And it goes back to that same question of, you know, who loves who more. And if you and there's that balance or imbalance or that struggle of, you know, if they're going to stay the course. Like if it's not that way, then it can easily, you know, be, you know, problems, or it could easily be temptations, or it can easily be because, you know, again, you know, it wasn't the man who proposed, or it wasn't, you know, it was kind of like, settle, we've been together for a while, all right, let's do it, you know, like, so I think it goes back to just knowing, like, who, you know, whoever you meet in life, you know, are they all into you, or does it seem like you're chasing, or does it seem like the other one, or is this the one? Maybe they don't have the, you know, you don't have to put a bag over their head, but maybe they don't look the best, or maybe they don't have the most money, or maybe they don't have, no kids, or whatever the situation it is that you want, but they love you, like they just want to be with you. They want to, you know, make sure you're okay. They're there when, you know, those.
How do you know when a man loves you? Because I need society to understand what love is versus lust.
Right. That's a good question. I mean, I think it is, you start to hear a lot of the, you know, when are you going to come to my house? Or, you know, you know, you don't feel it's an intuition kind of thing where it, you know, a lot of times they want to plan, you know, intimate encounters versus really trying to, you know, have time and experiences and memories in other places or in other forums, or, you know, other conversations. You know, you're talking to them and it seems like they're giving you their time. You know, they're staying on the phone with you for long conversations, talking about whatever, the moon, the stars. You thought that way? I thought that way too. And what did you think about this? And what, you know, it's kind of just that bonding experience. And if you find that they're more towards that side, you might be on the right track of finding something a little bit more substantial versus someone who's more like, okay, well, you know, when you're going to come to my house, or, you know, it's
like a booty call.
Right. So
it's getting the calls like 2 a.m, like after like 12.
You know, they gotta go. All right, I'm calling you back later.
You finish. I'm coming. I'll call you. Like, yeah,
you become a priority. You become to be that person on that pedestal, that platform that, you know, when they call you, you know, they got your back, or you're gonna speak to them. You know, you have that woman's intuition, and then you could know from there versus, you know, you being the only one dialing or calling or trying to find time. When am I going to see you? Or when, you know, it changes.
Like the constant chasing, calling, leaving voice message, like kind of like begging sometimes. Like, are we hanging out this weekend, next weekend? Like, if you got to do all of that and it's not like a two-way street, then that should be a sign like he's not that into you.
Yeah.
Keep moving on.
A man is supposed to, you know, chase the woman, not the other way around. I think it's weird.
It's hard sometimes. I think in where we like what we like as women, we get emotional and we like, oh, I really like that. But if you're really looking at the end goal, the long term, the partner, the companionship, and all of those things, when you're old and gray, you got to look for someone who's really vested in you, and you got to pay attention to the signs. And if you don't see those signs there, then you need to kind of keep your options open. That's my advice.
My parents, they were married for 45 years. They told me that I have to marry someone I'm friends with first, because there's a thing called a roller coaster. And there's times that you're going to like them, love them, hate them, or whatever. But what keeps you together is a friendship. Mm-hmm. Because then if you guys are friends, when you go through those tough times, that's why some people can have best friends for like 30 years, because it's like, if you can change into like, okay, but this is my best friend, you can work together still and try to get through the bad times in the hopes that the good times will come again. So were you guys best friends before you guys got married?
Yeah.
We were like, I think even still, like, we would be like, that's my best friend, like that's my partner. Anything, I know, like
we the best,
yeah,
yo.
like
We the best.
So like we'll be in a party, in a party and give each other high five, like we the best. We walk into a room, we look around, we're like, yo, we the best, yo. And then they have no idea what we're talking about.
But that's good though, because it stops you from having temptations of seeing another woman, or you have temptations to see another man, because you're focused on each other.
Yeah.
Because if we are the best, there's nothing better than us.
Yeah. Right. Like, I'll tell you, it's interesting, right? Like, our son's birthday party was a couple weeks ago. And the interesting part about it is, I was thinking about it, like, yo, my wife really did her thing. Like, because I handled part of it, she handled part of it, but she did the theme, the venue, this, and because my life is very stressful as far as like work, and by the time I get home, I'm just like, right? My son still needs to be celebrated for his birthday. I was like, let's do it at the house. My wife is like, no, because that's my way of just like dealing with it. She handled everything, right? And it came out great. He enjoyed it. And seeing his joy, I was like, wow, I'm so happy that my wife didn't listen to me, right? Like, and didn't fall into it, because she's tired too. Like, it's easier to be like, you know what? Yeah, let's have it home. But she got it done, and we came together and we did it, and it's done. And he, but that's just a small example of it. But in the bigger scheme of things, I think when you are best friends and you're friends, and it's like the rubber, they call it like in on a car, like a bushing, right? It's between the two metals. So it doesn't rust, and it won't, because the two metals are not together, like,
there's less friction.
It's less friction, and it won't break, right? But when that rubber piece in the middle is gone,
it's like the cartilage.
Yes, cartilage. Like, just with the bones, right? So the friendship is the cartilage in the marriage. So if you don't have that, it's not going to work.
Like the cement between the bricks. Huh? The cement between the bricks is like keeps you guys together.
Yes, the mortar. Yeah.
Yeah, or God.
Yeah,
too. That people have to have like-minded. There's certain things that you have to be like-minded about for it to work also. So let's talk about how your faith works well in your relationship, because you mentioned that you do go to church. You guys go to church as a family, or you go to church on your own?
He goes to church on his own a lot of times.
Yeah.
He does take my son. I mean, I've been to church, plenty of times. But again, this is just us going through the growth factor in the relationship. And I'm more spiritual. So I'm developing my spiritual side, and, I'm more into like the karma and the trees and the energy of the world and all of that stuff. So, but there was times when I would be up, like, reading the Bible back and forth for hours. And, and he's be like, you still reading the Bible? And I'm like, yeah, and buying books and, doing all of that stuff. So now I'm, going in another direction, kind of where, I'm looking at how everything is connected in the world, and we are one, and, spiritual enlightenment. So I'm on a whole nother thing. But so I he goes and he's doing, like, church with my son, which is great.
Do you think that works, that you have a God-fearing man that keeps your relationship together too, and doesn't fall into temptation because he's God-fearing?
Yeah, no, I do.
Yeah.
I really do. That's important, because it gives people, like, sometimes when you go through tough times, it gives you hope when you know that there is some spiritual foundation, there's a higher calling. Everything is just not what we see here. At the end of the day, there's more to this life, and there's more to our, spiritual development. So I think that, by knowing that and him having that connection is important versus if there was nothing and he would just think, well, I'm just going to go to day and, whatever happens that's it, and it is what it is.
And I think that's dangerous.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
dangerous.
I think that's dangerous because when something bad happens, or because if the ego takes over, it's a problem, but
that's what society faces in marriages these days. It is the ego. It is the ego.
It is.
We forget why we got married for. We forget why we were together for. Now it becomes me, 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 and the other person goes me, 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 and there's no common ground.
No.
So then what do you do? Does the church help the ego? Does your spirituality help the ego? What do you do with the ego? Like, what, you leave the ego at the door? Like, how does that? Because, everyone's telling you, I want to kill my wife, right? That's ego, right? I want to kill, right? It's negative. You're going to kill. So what advice you give them, if they get to that point?
I tell them same thing I'm trying to tell you. Peace and growth. Like, you have to, whatever your peace is, your peace could be walking. Your peace could be church. Your peace could be playing golf. Like, your peace could be reading a book. Whatever it is, meditate. It could be just reading the Bible, listening to a podcast, like whatever it is that'll give you that escape or that peace. It's what you need, because you can't function
in chaos.
You can't. You can't function with while you're dealing with anxiety. Like you can't
or dealing with depression or dealing with low self-esteem. Like anything that's negative that's in a relationship causes the relationship to fail.
Insecurities, all that stuff.
Yes, insecurities. Are you cheating on me every 5 minutes? Are you cheating? Like you said a good thing. You said a good thing, Gayna, when you talk about assuming. Because I went to church the other day and the pastor was saying, stop with the always questioning and assuming what your other spouse is doing. You just worry about yourself. What happens with a lot of relationships that are destroyed is a constant just assuming, and relationships can't. It's just a negative thing to always assume all the time, and you letting your ego mess with your head to the point that it's causing a cancer between your relationship. Instead of you just worried about you. Just worry about you, and whatever you do, you can only control you.
You know what? You know what image I just got in my head of you say that? I saw an ocean eroding a shoreline, right? That constant beating up on the shore, and eventually it takes away the shoreline, right? And that takes away the cartilage.
It causes erosion. Erosion.
Yeah, exactly. And so you don't want that in your relationship. I feel like if I remember my wife, she wants to eat together, right? So we eat together, right? And so
well, that's her love language, right?
Yeah, that's her love language.
What is your love language?
That's what she wants, right? My love language is more of acts of service. Like I love just doing, I love doing, and so and I think my love language to receive is acts of touch. Like I want to be touched.
Intimacy,
right? And so so it's interesting because I tell men all the time that you have to really, really be in a good relationship. I feel like both people have to be able to love themselves unapologetically. Yeah. Right.
Basically, it's supposed to have high self-esteem.
Yes, both.
If
she came to me expecting me to make her feel better or the opposite,
you can't make her happy. You can make yourself happy, and people need to understand that.
No, you can't. You can't. No. You have to make yourself happy first. We can make each other happy together, but she has to do it. Whatever you see what she just told you. She's reading in hours of the night. She's studying. She's ordering books. She's doing this. This is what made her happy.
Got it.
On the other hand, I'm not doing that. I'm going to sleep. Right? And so what makes me happy is waking up Sunday, going to church, doing my thing, and then when I come home, we eat or whatever we do, and it's back to normal, it's back to business.
So basically, you respect
challenge.
each other's. You respect each other's like space. You respect each other.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's what I said in the beginning.
Yeah.
You know,
you respect each other's individuality, and I guess that's what he was trying to say as far as the peace and growth, where it's like, if it's not going to bring you peace, or if it's not going to bring you growth, then you kind of dismiss it. What am I doing here? Is this going to bring me peace? Is this having this conversation, or is this going to bring us growth in this relationship? If it's not one of those two, then we need to just move on, like right now. And because that's really, at the end of the day, what we are striving to, become, just have peace in our marriage and our relationship, or either grow and become better individuals. So that's like one of the things that we focus on, as far as eliminating the unnecessaries and just kind of moving the button, forward.
Well, I just want to say I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of you. You guys are a power couple, and hopefully people will take the examples and the choices and the gems that you guys are dropping. But let's shout out your businesses real quick. ACA Builders, right?
ACA Designs and Build.
Okay.
ACAbuilds.com is the website. It's our business where we handle architecture, design. We have an architecture on the team. Shout out to Vlad, right? And we have a whole crew of guys, different people who do different things to help you as far as like design your space. And I feel one thing, what keeps our relationship like really tight, is that our home is comfortable, right? We made our space, we designed our space to be comfortable. My wife and I, every Wednesday, we used to go to Blockbuster, right? And we used to rent a movie. It didn't matter what we did. Every Wednesday, we went together. We went down to Blockbuster on Hillside Avenue. Hillside, right? Yeah, Hillside.
Yeah. So, Jean, you're going to have to wrap it up. We have 30 seconds.
Oh, 30 seconds? Okay,
yes.
Okay. So, so you have to design your spaces, right? So we built a private cinema, which we are in, right? And so that's one. The second website is FGI Planner. I'm a big planner, so I like planning things, organizing stuff, and I feel like an organized life is a life that gives you less anxiety, good relationships, work, and so those are the two.
Okay. So we'll have a part 2. Thank you so much for joining on Proud of You Sis. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye. Chamber by